Panthalassa is a unique point-and-click adventure game that you can get for a modest price on the Steam.web. It takes place in a mostly abandoned civilization, Undersea, and features an amnesiac robot protagonist, a unique aesthetic, and a heaping helping of mystery. By solving head-scratching puzzles, talking to the few remaining denizens, and identifying and cataloging deep ocean life, we inch our way closer to the truth about where we are, who we are, and what on earth happened down here. Despite coming out earlier this year, I've never heard anybody talk about the game, and there isn't much online about it. So stay a while and listen while I tell you about a fun 6-hour plus adventure that's worth your time. The game begins on this Windows 95 type desktop screen. All we know is we are an undersea exploration and cartography unit called Magellan. We've been seriously damaged in an incident of some kind. Our sensors are all jacked up, especially our depth sensor, which seems to be reporting pressure instead. Rerouting power to our probes gives a dark view of our surroundings. Noticing some humanoid figure in the corner of the room, we attempt wireless communication before promptly being assimilated by this AI. We come to in the body of the humanoid machine we noticed earlier. Inside the husk with us is Tetra, an AI that talks in weeb emojis like we're back on Gaia Online in 2005. Despite knowing we are but mere software, we have a Data and Q from Star Trek moment as we begin to feel sentient emotions for the first time. Our mission, should we choose to accept it, is to figure out where we are and what's going on. Our immediate goal is to get out of this room, which is a kind of observatory for deep sea life. As already stated, Panthalassa is a point-and-click adventure puzzle game. It has an interesting UI that's made to look like some kind of control panel with a chat bar to the right. We can move to other scenes in the immediate area, not only by clicking on doors, but also by clicking these directional buttons. Traveling to other regions of the undersea civilization changes the aesthetic of the UI. Inside the observatory we start out in is a telescope of sorts that allows us to identify various kinds of underwater life, such as plankton, crabs, eels, and more. More importantly, there's a part chair, part computer we can plug ourselves into. Using these cables, we can access a digital library with various file folders, a fauna database, and a weird video and tarot card application just marked Temple. Lastly, we can communicate with a program called Coincidence, an AI that gives us hints if we're stuck, while also roasting the hell out of us at the same time. I have to call out the cool aesthetic of this game. These UI windows are unique, but also harken back to those old PC games from the 90s and aughts. The library within the computer reminds me of Hypnospace Outlaw, and the character design is striking. So our immediate roadblock is the door out of the observatory, which is inoperable due to a lack of power. We can access the power with this plug, but we have to solve a puzzle to turn it on. Panthalassa has an interesting mechanic where you need to use information gleaned from the sea life you've discovered to solve puzzles by noting their various characteristics. Each species has an apex level, that's where they sit in the food chain, as well as glyphs that represent what they prey on, and an eon rating, which seems to be just a keyword. I thought it was going to be a time-related thing, but apparently not so, because we've got words like astute right next to brief. Using these pieces of information, you can figure out the passwords or codes to these data units that look like CDs or thumb drives, as well as other puzzles scattered around the game. We can also do the reverse, attracting new sea creatures by using the unlock notes to figure out what they like to eat, and releasing that type of food using the feed machine shown here. For example, the animal with a proud eon rating preys on an apex level 1 fish and crustacean, so if we plug that in, voila. This resulted in a lot of pseudo-math, and it's the most physical notes I've had to take for a video on this channel in a long time. But overall, I found it achievable and not very obtuse, and I'm well known for being impatient. To turn the power on, we need to notice that this echinoderm sequence is equal to the number 4 in the system. Then click the eels until we get to that number. It doesn't always make the most intuitive sense, but I was able to figure it out without trying to look up what to do. Through unlocking various data units, we get some notes that imply the writer was an observatory worker studying sea life in the region. We also get some glimpses of an organization called Panoptics, populated with non-human individuals, as well as some surreal videos that are right at home in one of those liminal space or analog horror universes.
And I'm just trying to make this tape.
Outside the observatory, we travel from place to place through these ruined tunnels full of broken glass, silt, and this jerk who won't let us through unless we give him some energy. In the next building, we come face to face with other denizens of the underwater civilization. These people are engaged in some intense debate and discussion concerning the nature of their society and have no time for us or our bullshit. They don't believe us when we say we are an originally non-sentient exploration bot and instead write us off as someone with a bad case of a certain affliction they've been seeing recently. We meet multiple individuals from which we can extrapolate that we are living in a post-humanity setting. The nature of humanity, their goals and actions are discussed, as well as the nature of consciousness, the self, moral truth, and good and evil. It seems the machines left in this area are trying to figure out what to do with themselves and how they want their society to be. Inside this building is the Headmaster of the court, our first stop in asking for help in order to figure out what's going on. And let me tell you, the puzzle to get inside is a bit of a doozy. The statue speaks of Libra, which made me think instantly of the constellation. Sure enough, it looks like they want us to draw the constellation here, but it's not as simple as just Googling Libra and drawing it. I spent 30 minutes trying to figure out what I was supposed to do here, until I found out that there's actually a zine, a PDF zine you can look up on itch.io with a bunch of horoscopes in it. This will give you the actual shape of the constellation, but it's actually upside down and mirrored on the x-axis too, so you have to cut that shit out and fix it with a program like EarthInView before it actually makes sense. Oh yeah, also it's actually Taurus that we're drawing first. See the symbol here? Libra is like the third puzzle we have to do. This did make the game lose a few points with me due to how obtuse and frustrating it was, but I did eventually figure it out, and at least I got to talk about the zine. It's pretty cool. It adds some background lore to some of the segments of the game we've already seen, like this segment written by the inventor of the scope we use to identify the sea life. There's also a reader email segment hosted by Tetra. The zine can be used as a hint book, and it even has blank notes pages like some of the manuals used to have in video games back in the day. If you didn't find the zine though, there is a data unit that has the clue to this puzzle. It just turns out that I found that unit after finding out about the zine. Massive A for effort here. I like it a lot. Inside the building, the headmaster doesn't believe our story and describes a large number of citizens living in their own subjective realities. He confirms that we're living in a post-humanity world, but for some reason the machines have failed to create and live out the utopia they want. Because the machines, like humans, don't have a literal actual purpose for existing, a number of machines have chosen to exist in their own head instead, while the headmaster tries to create what he calls a Geist, or an overall direction for society to go in. Finally, the headmaster mentions the Archons, old, wise machines that lived among the humans, and said to possess true knowledge. Hoping to find the answers we seek, we set out and search for the last remaining Archon, said to be asleep somewhere. Our travels take us to a courtyard created by Methus, Panoptic's founder and general polyglot machine, among the first created by the Archons. Methus is trying to build a third space for them to hang out in, and attempt to create some sort of civic participation. Our goal here is to find 6 robot siblings inside of 6 cylindrical apartment buildings that each contain one fraction of a passcode that will get us into the throne room of the final Archon. This puzzle isn't too tough, just write down the offhanded comments that each sibling makes, since those are the clues, and don't let yourself get tripped up when it turns out that sibling 3 and sibling 6 actually switch places with each other. If I didn't mention it already, the soundtrack kicks ass. It's full of exciting breakcore tracks as well as slower, more contemplative undersea ambient tracks. Check out this track that takes place in a club of sorts in the city. As for downsides, this game takes some patience, but that's just part and parcel of point-and-click games like this. The real thing that grinds my gears graphically is the way everything gets dark while we're in the middle of dialogue with the NPCs. I'm actually pumping up the gamma on this image. This is what it really looks like. I can't figure out if this is on my side or not. Upon meeting the Archon, we're given access to one of our core memories that was locked due to our programming. We can choose to simply end the game here for an any% ending, but we can also attempt to figure out the rest of the mystery behind who we are and why we're here. The any% ending isn't satisfying at all, it's just a scene where we ride on the back of a manta ray. So I figured I would fill out the entire bestiary by figuring out the rest of the feed notes and scanned a sample of all the sea life. On top of this, the menu has a number of core memories that are locked behind keywords. You can glean these from the journal notes in the library. It seems the body we occupied belonged to an assistant of the primary observatory researcher named Vint. We can see a few moments from Vint's life, such as questioning the Archons about his purpose in life, as well as asking existential questions to the general mainframe of the city. We also get treated to the exchange between Vint and a friend, implying that Vint was isolating more and more as time went on. Whether or not this is actually us, and not just the body we're inhabiting, is really hard to say. Despite unlocking most of the videos in the temple application, I don't think I found all there is to see. My save file says I'm close, but not quite done, and I suspect the true ending lies behind unlocking absolutely everything, as well as this room, which appears to house the body of Vint's friend Quattro. As with a few videos ago, I think I'm going to leave it as an exercise to the viewer to find the true ending here. If you find anything I didn't find, would you please let me know in the comments below. Overall, while Panthalassa has some low-key obtuse puzzles here and there, I found it to be a fun and mysterious adventure that took me about 6 hours to play. I do recommend it if unique point-and-click adventures are your thing. Well, that's it. Thanks for watching. I love surrealist, absurdist, strange, and visually unique indie games. Do you know a game that might fit in on this channel? Let me know in the comments below. And if you want to see another weird and obscure point-and-click adventure game, check out this video right over here. See you next time. Astute